spend our time well. Well, next week, let's join the KPED team. Begin spending our time well in whatever volunteer role we choose for KPED. And oh, by the way, let's act on our theme, outreach. Thank you. Kevin Reeders is coming up. Oh no, Bob's here. Bob's here. Okay, thank you.
And thank you, President Mike. I'm sure you're all getting tired of seeing my pretty face up here. I've been here just about every week from the end of October till now. We have given out 27 grants for a total of $65,000. And I want to thank each and every one of you, because without your help and your contributions, we would not be able to do near that. So we have our final two today. First one is St. Anne's Episcopal Day. And Allison, would you please come forward? And if you would, please, if you come around here, and please tell us a little bit about your organization and what you plan to do with it.
Good afternoon. It is an honor to be included as part of this group of recipients. It is a pleasure to be with you today, and it is an honor to represent St. Anne's Episcopal Day School. St. Anne's was founded in 1988, first as a school to serve the Episcopal churches in the Valley. And over a number of years, that mission became to all children in the Valley. We are a religiously exempt school, which means that we can choose and set our own curriculum. We choose to do that. We love that method because we can truly tailor to the needs of each student in our school. I understand the importance of a state-regulated program is to ensure that every child receives an excellent education. But with a school our size, about 70 students, we are able to know each child personally and intimately to know where their struggles are, where their strengths are, and where we can serve them best. Your funds will be serving a student who we ask financially to there's not a full we believe that if they're financially invested, they will also personally invest in education for their children. However, not all families can afford to send their child to school at our school, and your funds will also give you an image of what this might look like. If you can imagine a little boy sitting at a table, playing blocks with his friend. It seems really simple, doesn't it? It's easy to imagine blocks, boys, children, tables. It can picture easily in your mind. But for this child, he first tried out the public school system, and he was not successful there. And so they actually contacted us and asked us if we would consider accepting him into our program. One of the reasons that they had gone to the public school system is we didn't have the funds to be able to apply for a private program. And we said yes, we would love to have him join us. When he arrived for school, he would have such a level of anxiety that he was not able to enter the classroom door. He had only ever been to the doctor's office his whole life. So, with time, many days, lots of attention and love, we were able to welcome him into the classroom. He then sat in the corner, too scared to interact with anyone. And over the course of many weeks, we were able to finally get him to that table. This is just one child in a valley, many children. But whether you like to think about it, like to think about psychology or science or the community as a whole, you can see the importance of changing just one child. So thank you very much. From my heart, from all the people who are involved in seeing us in this full-day school, we are all so very grateful for you and the impact that you are making on our community. Thank you.
Okay, for our second one for today, Renovation Alliance. And Kendall, would you please come up and tell us a little bit about what you're going to do with the grant? And Mayor Bauer, would you please come up and tell us a little bit about a Renovation Alliance? Thank you.
to a family, to the larger community. Renovation Alliance works to preserve affordable, critical and necessary home repairs, otherwise be unable to afford those repairs. The average person that we work with in Nevada is an older adult who is living with a disability and on a single income. Average household $60,000, and then oftentimes there are replaced heating system, a roof repair, or a safe in their home. Renovation Alliance communities and volunteers to be able to meet the they're able to stay. The grant from the Kiwanis Club is going to go right into a home repair project. This grant is by the material, some of the skilled labor. That's another project necessity to make the home repair possible for someone in need in our community. So thank you all.
Years ago, I used to run projects for Christmas in April. Excellent organization. Listen, what we want to do now is want to recognize Bob Haberman for running such a terrific grants program this year. Round of applause for Bob Haberman. Now, if I'm paying attention to the agenda, I believe Kevin Reeder's on his way up. We're going to hear a fascinating autobiography.
Thank you. I promise this will be short and sweet and we'll keep the agenda on track. Since Pegram asked me if I would do this, I struggled with exactly what to say in this biography, considering my relative short and uneventful story. So I'll also focus on a lot of the other special people in my life, like my family, obviously. So to the beginning, my parents met in Miami, Florida. My father was a commercial airline pilot originally from Cleveland, Ohio, and a former Marine. And my mother was a flight attendant at the time. So they had that instant connection, and she was originally from Conshohocken, Pennsylvania, outside of Philadelphia. They moved to Roanoke in the early 80s as my father became a captain for Piedmont Airlines. I'm sure many of you remember Piedmont, and Roanoke was originally one of the hubs for Piedmont. They're wonderful, hardworking people. They've got a great love for life, travel, and their family. Couldn't ask for better parents. In my youth, we traveled many different places across the Western United States, Hawaii, Alaska, Europe, New Zealand. I had a lot of opportunities, and I was thankful for it. I have two older brothers. My oldest brother, Thomas Jr., he's a Virginia Tech graduate, spent a long time in the IT field, and now he is undergoing a midlife career switch to become a commercial airline pilot, like my father. So you can imagine that Junior is the favorite. He has two children. He relocated here to Roanoke several years ago, which has been nice. My other brother, middle brother, Brian, is a classic middle child, restless and adventure seeking. Most recently been roaming the eastern seaboard, working seasonal jobs with day charters, chauffeuring rich people on their boats, and partaking in his passion for skydiving. So that's the middle brother. And that, of course, leads to the least interesting member of the Reeder clan, which is me. I attended Cave Spring High School, which of course is home to famous alumni such as the Barber twins, J.J. Reddick and John Montgomery. And John says we may have crossed paths when we were there. I can't make those numbers work, but we talk about Cave Spring all the time. I played football in my time there, had the pleasure of being on probably the most underachieving varsity squad at the time, sandwiched between the most successful teams in Cave Spring history that were led by future NFL players, Danny Aiken, who became a future Super Bowl champion and New England Patriot, and Josh Woodrum, who after me became future Liberty University star and NFL preseason favorite for the Ravens. So I was in between those. Also at Cave Spring, I started dating my future wife, Courtney, our senior year. And so together we've been together now for almost 17 years, almost 11 of which as a married couple. My wife lives for her family, and I couldn't ask for a better partner in life. And of course, it happens differently for everybody, but of course, there's such an intimacy about knowing somebody since you were that young. I graduated from Virginia Tech with a degree in finance, and my wife graduated from Radford University with a teaching degree. I probably would have left the area, but she wanted to be local, so She got a job teaching math at Cave Street Middle School, which she did up until the 2019 school year, right before COVID. So that ended up working out well. I responded to an advertisement in the Pamplin Business School email for a management trainee position with First Bank and Trust. And here I find myself over 12 years later, still with First Bank and Trust. We opened up our office 8 years ago in Roanoke and couldn't ask for a better company to be with. And I hope to have a long, fruitful career there and maybe only have one employer. I have 3 children. Elena, which she turns 9 on March 4th. We are having a Taylor Swift birthday party this weekend. Luke, who is 5 years old, and Virginia, who is 18 months. Elena, my oldest, is very smart, loves to read, dance, and play basketball. We just finished up our season. I coached her team for the past 2 years. And we had a blast this past season. I think we might have had the best 9U girls basketball team in the Roanoke area. So Luke, he is like my brother, a classic middle child. He's wild and extremely frustrating, but he loves superheroes and sports, especially football and basketball. He played basketball for the first time this past season as well. We love that. My knowledge is tested consistently on many subjects, sports mainly, with a million questions from him. And I have never seen a 5-year-old sit down and watch an entire basketball or football game with such interest. The only time he probably sits still. And my youngest, Virginia, she is lovable and sweet, looks the most like her mother, so that helps, of course, too. And the younger kid, like her, always has to go with the flow. I was the youngest of 3. My wife was as well, and it's going from activity to activity. She's probably the most mellow of the bunch. So that is short and sweet, and my whole life story in just a few minutes. I appreciate everybody. There's not a Q&A section.
Thank you, Kevin Reed. I hope, Kevin, you find the opportunity to send that into the newsletter so other people who aren't here can benefit from that. So now, Reef Kessler's on his way up, and we're going to benefit from hearing from the Staunton River Key Club.
Good afternoon. Dutifully on my way up. We have a couple extra minutes probably, and I'll just give you a couple of facts about the Key Club. You know, this is my opportunity. One of them is, you might be surprised to know that next year will be the centennial anniversary of Key Clubs in the United States. First founded in 1925. Of even greater interest to a lot of you will be the fact that females were first admitted as Key Club members in 1977. That was 10 years before the Kiwanis Club admitted female members. So anyway, I think that there is probably nothing more important for Kiwanians to be interested in than the nurture of young people with leadership skills and of character that can become involved and by interest in activity and community service. I mean, for the future, there really has to be people who remain interested in serving their communities, and these young people who are involved in Key Clubs are hopefully being nurtured in that appreciation. So today we have with us some representatives of the Stanton River High School Key Club. All of us know that this pandemic thing that we went through several years ago had an impact on virtually all organizations. And as it turns out, it was particularly hard for the group at Stanton River. And so I'll introduce here the current faculty advisor, Jen Salvatore, who is, stand up, Jen, who is working towards revitalizing the Stanton River Key Club. She has with her another interested faculty member, Erica Singley. You have to stand up too. A student leader, Carolyn Hart, and then I have up here with me at the podium, Zoa Silva, the vice president. The president of their club couldn't be with them today. And Zoa has a few words about the current status of the Stanton River Club.
Hello, First of all, I would like to extend my welcome for you guys inviting us here. We haven't really been able to do this last year because we didn't have Miss Salvatore trying to reach out to all of our K Club community. Last year, our members did more than 50 hours of community service, and this is through school events, and we did a blood drive, and we're continuing to do that this year in April with FFA Club. Most of us are also part of NHS, so we get service community hours there. Angel, our president, who is not here today, she has proven to me that you can possibly do anything. She's currently working at her job and trying to be the best president she can and doing all this community service hours. I'm very proud of her, and she is fully committed to UVA this year. We are currently doing service projects at Stanton River that involves helping to enrich the students and understand what we're trying to do with Key Club. We are making encouraging notes for the SOL takers coming this May. And we are currently packing up packages for freshman survival packs for the upcoming freshmen for next year. We want to be able to reach out and help and enrich the kids at our school. And that's about it. So thank you for having us.
Thank you very much. We're delighted you could come and give us an update. Earlier, I mentioned that this is one of the largest Kiwanis clubs in the world. As impressive as that might be, I think it's even more impressive when you realize that in the Roanoke region, the total membership of the key clubs we support is even greater than the number of people in our Kiwanis club. That is impressive work on our, yes, that deserves applause. That's impressive work on the part of high school students. All right, now let's go through the announcements. Last week, it was a meeting of the Fun Day Committee. That event will be coming up in early June. And KPAD is getting ready to crank up, as you know, so they met last week. It turns out that KPAD needs one more ticket sales team captain. One more ticket sales team captain. That's a fun volunteer job. I encourage at least one of you to step forward and fill that last slot. So today, the group of advisors that I've assembled to try and keep me on track as president is meeting. I appreciate the fact that all those past presidents are taking that responsibility seriously. I expect that out of today's advisors meeting, there'll be at least one significant action that they'll bring forward for our club to consider. So tomorrow, the officers are meeting and the board meets next Monday. Board meeting is at LOA, no Zoom available for that meeting. Immediately preceding the board meeting, there's a discussion being held on the possibility of a diversity-related committee. David and Sherry Hartman are setting up that discussion. Invite all of you to attend that discussion if you're interested. Then tomorrow night, KPAD draft. That's when those team captains look around this room and pick members of their teams to go out and sell record amounts of KPAD tickets. By the way, the past few years, we've done pretty well with that. So I expect this year will be no difference. But depending on how that goes, we're going to pray about it on Friday morning, March 1st, when the prayer committee breakfast meets. That was a segue, by the way. Then the book club's going to meet on Zoom. Reminder, book club's a brand new committee. A bunch of people in our club actually read and care to talk to each other about what they read. I think that's fantastic. Then Mill Mountain. Larry tells me that already half of the slots have been filled for our Mill Mountain social. Nice going. So there's several more slots left for that. And he once again wants me to remind you, margaritas will be complimentary. And lastly, a brand new event on our calendar, brand new event. One of our newest club members, he just joined a couple months ago. One of our newest club members is leading a mulch effort at the Mill Mountain Playground. Now that's important because each year, when we auction off the star to raise money to give to you grant recipients, each year we turn around and do something in appreciation for the city. This year we're mulching at the Mill Mountain Playground. Sign-up sheets are on your tables. Did I miss any announcements? Oh yeah. What? Yes, sir.
I was just informed that there are some new members that do business that may not know what the KPAD is.
So KPAD is our annual fundraiser, Kiwanis Pancake and Auction Day. We've been running that for over 25 years. It generates record amounts of money each year, which again, we turn around and give away. For the folks that want more information, talk to anyone in this room about it, or go where online? The website. Very good. Thank you for that. And the last announcement I'm going to have to make is we have a pair of newlyweds in the room. Let's give them some attention. So with that, Preston told me he wanted to come up and do a brag, and the rest of you can follow. Brag bucks time now. While they're coming up to brag, yes, here's the way it works. For $2, you can stand up here for a half a minute and brag on any non-controversial subject. Your money goes toward those grants we keep talking about. Braggarts, come on up now. Oh, look, Preston's going to come up.
Good job.
Since he already announced, but let me do it the right way. My bride of 2 weeks, Miss Shauna Tyler. Give her a hand. And that's my $2 break.
Well, President Mike did not tell us the name of that new member who is organizing the mulching up at Mill Mountain. But I want to brag on every member of this club who is organizing those kinds of service projects. As the chair of your strategic planning committee, I would like to ask if you're doing such a thing, or if you've done something from 1st of October until today, please send me an email and let me know how many Kiwanians participated in that service project. We're going to start tracking that, and next year we'll decide what's going to be our goal for increasing the number. So please send me the numbers for the members who volunteer for any service projects that you're doing. Thank you.
So no further ado, we're going to listen to a compelling introduction.
Yes, you are. Thank you, President Mike. Never at a loss for humorous things to say and do, even at his own expense. I'm particularly proud to be introducing our speaker today because when I joined this club in 1986, there were no women members. Can you imagine that today? It's ridiculous. So I was proud to bring in our first woman member, Linda Price, a year later. Linda turned right around and recruited Jackie Bledsoe. Raise your hand, please. Thank you. And Jackie became our first woman president. We got all kinds of heritage in this room, and I'm proud of that. Another one of our women members is none other than our speaker today, Stephanie Moon Reynolds, who was born in West Virginia and came to Roanoke 6 months later as they say, she got here as quickly as she could. Stephanie gave her autobiography here a few weeks ago, and if you heard that, then you know that she is a lady who has never met a challenge she could not overcome. And I think you're going to hear a little more about that today. Stephanie is an undergraduate of William Fleming High School and received her associate degree from Virginia Western Community College. I went there myself, but I was there a few years before Stephanie, so I helped pave the way. Stephanie is currently a member of Roanoke City Council. She served for 42 years as an employee of the city of Roanoke, rising to quite an esteemed position as Roanoke City Clerk and Clerk for the Council, which she handled adroitly for 13 years before her retirement in December 2019. Stephanie's civic engagement and community spirit have resulted in recognitions by various civic organizations such as the Roanoke branch of NAACP, the Roanoke chapter of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, Total Action for Progress, Roanoke alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, among others. Stephanie has extensive volunteerism, and she has served on several government agencies and local boards. And the most important one of those, of course, is this Kiwanis Club. She's also served on the Salvation Army Local Advisory Board, Project Discovery of Virginia, Roanoke Valley Allegheny Regional Commission, Family Services of Roanoke Valley, National League of Cities, Virginia Municipal League, and Virginia's First Cities. In between all of those efforts and items, Stephanie has been married to Earl Reynolds. Earl, please raise your hand. Thank you. Of Danville fame currently. And they have 4 adult children, 4 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren, and an English bulldog named Stella. Both Stephanie and Earl are active members of Shiloh Baptist Church, along with people like Joe Gaither and J.C. Taylor. They're also members of that Bridge Builders group that was formed by those two, along with Ken Briggs, yet another past Roanoke Kiwanis president. So it looks like we're all family here, Stephanie.
Yes, I think so.
Please join with me in welcoming Stephanie Moon Reynolds.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. I am humbly appreciative of the introduction. And based on what has been said by you, I need not repeat most of it. Again, I would like to take a moment and recognize some very special people in attendance who are near and dear to my heart. And they have been recognized several times, but I'm going to do it myself. First is my husband, Earl. Would you please stand, sir? Yes. Yes, my dad actually makes me. I thought my daughter-in-law would have made it. She's here. My daughter-in-law, please stand. Thank you. The only daughter-in-law, she would say. And my bestest friend, Chiquita Trials, who has been my friend for 56 years. Yes. And several of my Shiloh friends, Dorothy Dickerson, Marissa Jackson, Kathy Harris, and Doug Dial is also here for representing Shiloh and Bridge Builders. And I have fellow Bridge Builder members here with that King Briggs invited to come to hear me. And that's Chris and Steve Stutzman. Thank you. And so I thank you all for coming. I must say, the pressure is real. There is a saying that is befitting for this moment. And I told my bestest friend she would recognize it. From time to time, when talking with her about life's challenges and how to be a conqueror, I would always ask, there are three types of people in this world: people who make things happen, people who watch what happened, and people wonder what happened. I would always ask her, which one are you? She would always answer by saying, I know which one you are. Yes, I am the one who makes things happen. Today, I'm going to tell you about a special someone who has been sown into and has found her purpose-driven destiny. Let's define destiny. What does that mean? Understand, destiny is not for comfort seekers. Destiny is for the daring and determined who are willing to endure some discomfort, deny gratification, and go where destiny leads. Biblically speaking, destiny means you are well equipped to do the good work that God has called you to do. As for me, destiny means a sense of purpose and inner fulfillment. Chuck Swindoll, a renowned Christian pastor, author, educator, and radio preacher, talks about being real in his book titled Come Before Winter and Share My Hope, a collection of devotionals to help one prepare for and endure life's unavoidable difficulties and heartbreaks, and discover the faithfulness of the Lord, who is a companion and friend through the storms of life. I found this to be true and will always be most grateful to a co-worker who gave me this book during a difficult time in my life back in 1987. That was a sudden death of my father, who passed from a fatal heart attack at the age of 54, when I found myself to be only 30. Swindoll says to find yourself requires you to take time to look. That is essential if you want to be a whole person, real to the core. That learning to be whole isn't prompted by copying out. He mentions there are times in our lives when we need to either back away, slow down, stay quiet, think things through, or just be still. That there has to be more to life than just doing. It's being, becoming whole, believable, purposeful, lovable, and that it takes time and it usually hurts. He references the classic childhood story, The Velveteen Rabbit, where there is a dialogue between a new toy rabbit and an old skinned horse. The question is raised by the new toy rabbit: what is real? Does it mean having things that buzz inside you and a stick out handle? Real isn't how you are made, said the skin horse. It's a thing that happens to you. Swindoll ends his message by saying, real is never being satisfied. You cannot play cover up forever. You have to have a heart of compassion, being kind, tender, transparent, gentle, patient, forgiving, loving, and lovable. All those things spell R-E-A-L. So, who is Stephanie Moon Reynolds? I'm glad you asked. Most may recall my autobiography that I shared last month. Well, I want to thank you all for the heartfelt comments. It really meant a lot to me. Thank you. As it was stated, my parents married very early, and they divorced 10 years later. Once again, they should never have married, but I needed to be born in order to fulfill my purpose-driven destiny. Definitely part of God's plan for this determined, outspoken, stubborn, overachiever, conqueror, 4'11" and a half, Black African-American female. You may recall while living with my grandparents, my grandmother recognized something special, a unique, exceptional in me, and always encouraged me to dream the impossible could become possible. It wasn't until my mother passed away several months ago, August 2023 to be exact, when I realized, although I wanted more out of life for her, she not only loved me dearly, but always wanted me to live out my destiny and would oftentimes say, "Go do it, daughter. I believe you can," or "Follow your heart's desire and do it with confidence." But it was my grandma who instilled within me strong morals and values such as trustworthiness, be honest and be dependable, respect, be considerate of others' feelings, deal peacefully with anger, insults, and disagreements, responsibility, do what you are supposed to do, use self-control, be self-disciplined, think before you act, consider the consequences, be accountable for your choices, fairness, play by the rules, be open-minded, listen to others, don't blame others carelessly, caring, be kind, be compassionate, and show you care, express gratitude, forgive others, help people in need, citizenship, get involved, stay informed, be a good neighbor, obey laws and rules, and respect authority. If I had allowed the world to define who I was to become, I do not believe, in fact, I know, I would not be prosperous today. Knowing there had to be more and desiring so much more, I refused to allow anyone or anything to define who or what I was to become. Whether professionally or personally, I always wanted my life to have meaning and a purpose. Even though I based my life on 60-month milestones, I can truly say, while I appreciated them, there were just as many blessings as trials and tribulations. When I think of where I have been and now knowing where I am going, I all the more recognize God's purpose for my destiny. Let's look back to where I've been beginning 46 years ago. At the age of 20, when I became the first Black African-American to be employed and excel in the Roanoke City Clerk's Office, Office of the Mayor, and Roanoke City Council. Mind you, this was in 1978, during the time the city was hiring more minorities, females and males alike, to work in department offices. My husband, Earl, was hired as the first human services coordinator in 1978. And soon thereafter, he was the city's first chief of community planning. And in 1986, appointed as the city's first Black assistant city manager. During segregation, the city only hired minority males as police officers to work in their own neighborhoods. Or you could be a street sweeper, a sanitation worker, or even a janitor. There were no Black African-American social workers, engineers, supervisors, managers, etc. until the late 1970s. Like my husband, I too was fortunate, under affirmative action, blessed to move up through the organization by holding various positions in the city clerk's office. Having been appointed as the city clerk in 2006, a position I held for 13 years prior to retirement in December 2019. I shall always be grateful and never forget my boss, Mary Parker, a white woman who was hired out of high school, excelled through the ranks, highly respected in the organization and community. Considered to be a diligent worker, disciplinarian with a no-nonsense nature who treated her staff equitably. Although in later years, staff thought I was her favorite. Perhaps so because I highly respected and appreciated her knowledge and wisdom that was often shared with me. Even before my temporary employment with the city's social services department, I always had a passion to help the underserved and less fortunate. Oftentimes, as city clerk, I had a tendency to call out what was wrong and unfair, even when it almost cost me my job. Seriously, there was one occasion in 2019 when I was reprimanded by the council due to advocating for no alcohol in my neighborhood park. I stood on my convictions. And then there was another instance in 2008 when there was a disagreement with the mayor at that time, when the city administration was requiring each department to make budget cuts, which included cutting a position. Rather than unfund one of the 5 positions in the city clerk's office that assisted the vice mayor and council members, I let go of the assigned position to the mayor's office, since this office was considered part-time. Knowing office coverage could be managed by me and the remaining city clerk staff, I went ahead and unfunded that position. While considering retirement in 2019, I realized my purpose-driven destiny as to where I was going. It was to continue to be a voice for the people of Roanoke, not the privileged, but those who knew not how to advocate or fight for justice and equality. So in 2020, I ran for Roanoke City Council and I won, becoming the first Black African-American independent to sit on City Council. There have been so many firsts in my life that I do not take for granted. First, to be promoted to a council-appointed position in Roanoke City's history. As city clerk, becoming the first in Southwest Virginia to hold the office of president within the State Municipal Clerks Association, as well as being nominated Clerk of the Year concurrently. Also, first Black African-American clerk in the Commonwealth to be appointed to serve as vice chair of the International Institute of Municipal Clerks Education and Human Development Committee. Most recently, as a member of City Council, having been appointed as vice chair of the Institute for Youth Education and Families, counseled by the National League of Cities, and selected to serve as a member of the National League of Cities Community and Economic Development Federal Advocacy Group, both first in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Mind you, now, National League of Cities is an advocacy organization in the United States that represents the country's 19,495 cities, towns, and villages, along with 49 state municipal leagues. And I was honored to have been nominated and chosen during my initial term on council to serve on the Virginia Municipal League Board of Directors. Now, this is a statewide, nonprofit, nonpartisan association of city, town, and county governments to improve and assist local governments through legislative advocacy, research, education, and other services. Needless to say, this does not include my volunteerism on the local level, which we've already had shared with you through my bio. As mentioned by fellow Kiwani guest speakers regarding joining this club, I'm also proud, as you know, to be a member of such a great organization. It all started in 2006 when I was approached by Eric Daniels to be his guest at a Kiwanis luncheon meeting, which I did. Unfortunately, I could not commit due to fulfilling my duties as city clerk, but I always knew someday I would. Therefore, I promised him upon my retirement, whenever that was to be, I would become a member. In December 2019, while attending the Christmas luncheon as Eric's guest and watching the interactions of the club members with the West in youth center kids, I immediately completed my application for membership, and I have been active in the club ever since. As I look towards my purpose-driven destiny over the next 60 months with excitement and anticipation, on March 9th at 11 o'clock a.m., I will hold a press conference and reveal what is next for Stephanie Moon Reynolds. The press conference will be held on the backside of City Hall on Campbell Avenue between 2nd and 3rd Street. In closing, I leave with you a poem from Lynette Ann Lane, and it's titled, Embrace Your Own Greatness. Live your life through your own eyes. Hold close your grandest vision of yourself. Do not compromise your greatness for another's vision. Talk your own language. Express your own soul. You owe nothing to another, only to yourself. Be honest with yourself and your desires. Speak of your highest thoughts. Be all you held in your childhood dreams. No one can take away your power unless you are the one to give it away. Walk with your head held high so you can see everything clearly. Decide daily who you wish to be. Create your own moments with wisdom. Carve out your future with clarity. Become your desires. Expand your horizons. Leave yesterday's behind. Run toward tomorrow. Change your mind often. Learn how to flow with the river. Close your eyes and let life take you. Go where your heart leads. Never give up. Don't believe that mistakes are destroyers of life. See them as gifts for future success. Dance on rainbows, meet fairies, sing with angels, and always give thanks for the treasure that is life. Thank you, President Mike and fellow Kiwanian Steve McGraw, for this opportunity to share my story, which I hope will inspire, motivate, energize, and or empower you to walk in your purpose-driven destiny. So I encourage you to start walking, continue walking, slow down, or even take a detour. But remember, as you journey through life, you are never alone. There's always an invisible force ordering your steps. Thank you.
Stephanie, you've indicated that the speaker honorarium goes directly to the Kiwanis Foundation of Roanoke. We appreciate that very much.
Yes.
So what a month of speakers we have had. Steve McGraw, thank you for orchestrating that. When I grew up in the environment where there could only be one first place winner. Everybody else came in second or lower. I think I just learned there can be 4 first place speakers in the same month. So next week, we're kicking off KPEG. Jean, who has sat here for 2 weeks in a row and served as our acting club secretary, will be orchestrating a lot of enthusiasm next week as we kick off sales for a Kiwanis Pancake and Auction Day. Each of you will be entertained and energized, I am sure. With no further business,